Hey, everybody. Okay, so what are we doing today? Let me go turn my lights on, actually. Looking a little bit too moody. All right, there we go. So what are we doing today? One cool announcement: we just hit 5,000, or we crossed 5,000 people in the Discord. So Matt Double King Prime did send out an announcement that we're going to do a special Discord stream where you guys can submit questions. We'll do Q&A, talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, and we'll also have a little vote on a monster that we're going to create live on the stream, and I'll make it, and I'll get some art if I don't have art for it already, and I'll give that away to everybody on Discord as a thank you for being part of the Discord community. So we're going to be doing that upcoming here sometime, probably this week, toward the end of the week. So if you want to check that out, you definitely can. Just look at the announcements channel on Discord. So that's a pretty big deal. So 5,000 is a lot more than I ever thought. I never thought I'd even have a Discord server. So it's 5,000 more than I thought I'd ever have. So that is something that's going on. I did just get the an initial sketch. It's just a sketch, but I really, really like it. It is just a sketch from Earl Lan. And he actually sent me a bunch of different sketches, but like I was mocking them up and like immediately fell in love with this one. I think this is like exactly the kind of vibes that we're going for. For the deluxe cover, I can show you guys that if you're interested in seeing that. But today primarily I wanted to do the actual core design of the Dungeoneering rules, and I don't know how far we'll get, but I think that the Dungeoneering rules is like important for like the solo rules. So I've a couple of really smart guys, Joe and Daniel, are helping me with the solo rules, and a lot of that is going to hook into the Dungeoneering stuff. And then whether we do some other things, it sort of depends on this. So this is sort of a big core thing. So I want to do some live design with you guys on the Dungeoneering stuff. So that is the primary thing that I wanted to chat about today. Let me just make sure everything's working. Everybody can hear me okay, correct? Everybody can hear me. Great. Give me one sec. I'm just closing things and organizing things. And you know, I was thinking, mate, what if we just did I was thinking, what if we just did just one more stretch goal? Might that be cool? I don't know. It has to be something that won't delay. So it can't be like a new system or something like Dungeoneering rules, since that takes development time. But what if we did just one more stretch goal? I think that might be cool. I was thinking about it, and because we just crushed all the stretch goals that I had. So we did talk previously about rival parties. I think I'm gonna hold off on that one. Since that would take. I'd like that to be something pretty special, and I don't want to just squeeze that in on this one, even though that would be pretty cool. We one thing that I would love to have like a special one-shot adventure for like holidays, like special events, special things. So like I've got one for Christmas already, like for like a Christmassy holiday one. I'd love to have an adventure for Halloween, like a special one-shot adventure for Halloween. Like a nice spooky vampire one might be cool. I don't know. I think we've sort of got all the other stretch goals that I had in mind. So yeah, I'm open to what you guys your thoughts on the stretch goals. All right, so let's check in on the thing. Yeah. Okay, guys. We already crushed the next stretch goal, whatever it was. there was no $650,000 stretch goal. But if there was one, we crushed it. Which is certainly an amazing thing. Okay, so let's see. Maybe added it. Oh, I hate percentile dice. I just hate them. I'd rather do D66 tables or other things. I hate percentile dice. They're confusing, and I don't understand them. And everybody disagrees about what's 1 and what's 100. All right, subscribe. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, the patrons. I did show the Patreon pals on Discord the secret the secret deluxe art. So we might look at that a little bit later today. If anybody knows why my camera and stuff just always moves and goes all wonky between streams, I'd be all ears about that. New subclass for Artifice Art Hexbinder. Those are already like, yeah, we could say, all right, 650 new classes, subclasses for Artificer and Hexbinder. Like I was already planning on more of those anyway. Is there any way to just have the manufacturer of dice be able to make them to order? Yeah. The dice that I've ordered, I took pictures and I took measurements and I specified it's going to be this. Yeah. So like these are custom dice. It's not just like you send me and I sent them like the font and the specs and like all the different things of what the dice will look like. So yeah, these are custom orders. So you have to pay like a fee for them to make the molds, and then like once you make that, like each additional set of dice is like, you know, relatively inexpensive, but like the initial molds set up, just like with offset printing, getting one book printed is like $5,000. Getting two books printed is like $5,000. So like the can folks order the move or yeah? So I'm planning on having extras. I'm planning on having extras. It's probably going to be in a box similar to this because I like how these avatar dice are. Like it's a cool box with like a little window and a little tray to store them. And there's 12 dice here, so it'll be roughly this size, like a cool little box. Unless it's coming in like the extras box. So if you get them separate. Yep. Okay, yeah. So if you guys have any thoughts on, yeah, some people they're only YouTube people. Some people are only Discord people, and that's fine. But yeah, if we cross pollinate, that'd be cool. Yeah, if you guys have any other stretch goal ideas, then I'd be all ears for that. But with that said, let's go ahead and start talking about. Let's start talking about dungeon delving. And then for the skill challenges, if you guys just want like a very quick idea of what I'm thinking there. So some people have been asking for like, what about like negotiation rules? That's something that I think we probably don't need new rules for. We can just show an example, like that could be a skill challenge. Because like it's a challenge and you're using skills. But rather than like this negotiation goes well versus goes bad with one roll, like you have a little bit of like flexibility to like figure out what this guy wants or what he doesn't want, and then you can like it makes it a little bit more interesting. So skill challenges are not just like the dungeon is collapsing, but it could be like, you know, a game or sport, like some fantasy you're playing, not Quidditch, or you're trying to convince someone or bargain someone or bargain with someone, like that kind of thing. I think those would make for really good skill challenges. So it's not just you getting out of the collapsing Indiana Jones dungeon. It could be much wider things. Okay, so dungeon delving. It may involve environmental stat blocks, like sort of broadly. Like this is a swampy dungeon or underwater dungeon, or this is like an ancient tomb, or this is a natural cavern. Like maybe that, I'm not sure. But I think like the danger level of the dungeon or the area in the dungeon that you are is going to be something that can sort of go up or down. And how likely you are to have some encounter, some bad thing happen, or a good thing happen will go up or down. So I think that is important. So what we're going to do today is probably like develop those tables so that we have something to work with at least. So I think a big part of what we're going to do is work on those tables. All right, Floppy, hey, thanks for hanging out. Bring back the BX reaction tables. If you have if you want to share what that is, give me a bullet point or two. I'd be happy to take a look at it. Happy birthday! All right, Fix D&D. Everybody say happy birthday. Yeah, we're talking dungeons. Hey, Maya. Got a big drop coming on Wednesday, guys. We've got a cool actual play. And like I'm not someone who really likes actual plays. I think they tend to be, they're not for me. A lot of people like them, but this one is like jumps right into the action. It's gonna be cool. It's just showing off some of the cool nimble stuff that Maya is heading up. So we're launching that on Wednesday. Happy birthday. Okay, so let's talk about dungeon delving, guys. I think we might need some loot tables, like common loot, like bad to good, good loot, bad to good, and like maybe three-ish tables, maybe 4 tables. They could be relatively small. But you like this is goblins. Like you have like a 95% chance of it's just going to be common loot. Okay, so let's just start with the loot table. So it could be 1 to 20. Roll 1d20 on a 20. Reroll on a higher table. I think that's pretty cool. Common loot, good loot, great loot. Yeah, maybe 4. Maybe 4. That feels pretty good. Common, good, great, and legendary. So each of these would be a d20 table. Oh, actually, before we get into this too much, let me show you guys. Some people were asking about what exactly are some of the changes that are being made to the core books. And let me just show you. I think I still have it open. I think I still have it open. I'll share with you guys some of the in process tweaks and changes that are being made. Let me just open up the just opening things up. All right, give me a second, guys. Oh, and big thanks to a guy named Brian. He sent me an email with, he said, hey, there's a bunch of typos in your quick start rules. I was like, no, there isn't. And there was. Across the dozen, a dozen or so people, or maybe dozens of people who helped me edit. I guess I can show you guys. I'm just saving and closing some of these things. He found a bunch of typos in the basic rules. So I did if you guys don't care about typos, I did re-release this with all of the typos. Big thanks to Brian. Thank you to him for helping me with that. Okay, so this is the original. This is the interior of the original core rules. Looks great. Looks great, I think. But could it be better? Yes, it could be better. So one of the things that bugged me a lot was, hey, Judd. Chud. sorry, Matt. I did miss it. So one of the things that bugged me a bit was that all 4 stats were on this page, but like then we have like 7 of the skills here, and then like the remaining 3 skills here, and it just sort of felt a little bit wonky. So in the upcoming version, we have the stats. So we shrunk the art down just a bit, and we're given the main stats. These icons are not final. But we're given the main stats, like the prominence that they sort of deserve. So that like the stats are very, very important. And then we have all 10 skills on their own page. So like you can open up the book and you have all the stats and all the skills. So that again, we have to think about it like a book, because ultimately it's being printed as a book and not as like just a PDF that scrolls in endlessly, or as like a Word document that scrolls endlessly. So a little bit more emphasis on like how insight works and some of these other things. And I've tightened up a lot of the wording in things. For instance, like here, the maximum bonus a skill can have is plus 12. I think initially that wasn't in, yeah, so that wasn't in on this page just yet, even though like the one for the stats was. That note was like later when you're leveling up, I think. So just little quality of life things, and adding cool art. There's a cool little mole rat, stealthy mole rat guy from Justin Gerard. Adding art and stuff, just improving things just broadly, but improving the layout, and making minor changes. And then we have we have here. So now we have a little bit more space for the size and skill checks and saves to breathe a little bit. And I swapped out this cool little goofy little doofer from Ross Setterfield for our stack of 3 kobolds. So now skill checks and saves and size, like they have just a little bit more space to work with. And then like a rule that was in the core rules, like over and over and over again with a lot of the spells and abilities, but it felt like it was appropriate to add it here, and maybe I'll add it a little bit lower. But generally, small and tiny creatures are affected by force movement twice as much, while large creatures half as much. Huge or gargantuan creatures cannot typically be affected by force movement. So all the abilities and things that like said, oh, move in 2 spaces. A small creature move half as much, or twice as much, and then a large creature you move half as much. Like rather than having that just repeated for every ability, then like we could just have it here once. So just tightening up some of the language, fixing some things here, and tweaking wording just so that it's as clear as it can be. Some of the conditions. So if we look at the conditions, some of the conditions. So if you can tell here versus here, we have like 3 fewer conditions, because some of the conditions like bloodied or wounded, those weren't really conditions that could be applied. Like someone can't just like you're bloodied. It was more like a status, like you have half hit points. It was a definition. So it's been moved to the glossary, the appendix at the back. Same with wounded. There's an Oathsworn ability that lets you remove any one condition. So like you couldn't just remove wounded. You couldn't just remove bloodied. So those things are removed from conditions, and it just makes it feel a little bit lighter, a little bit less overwhelming, having 3 fewer conditions. So no, 3, 6, 9, 12. So we have like 14 conditions. We also have this handy little note here about like like if you're dazed twice, you don't lose a second action, that kind of thing. So just little improvements here, and then also the range and reach, the abstracted distances. So if we look here, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this. So if we look here, so the abstracted distances was moved from falling and force movement, was moved up to range and reach, which it makes more sense to have it there. But this could have been clarified a little bit, So there's enough to sort of work with here, but I just sort of clarified it just a little bit. Again, it's under range and reach. So you can ignore the grid for the occasional quick combat, or all the time if you prefer, using 3 range bands instead. Close. So creatures are effectively considered adjacent or close enough to be affected by melee attacks or abilities up to reach or range 3 without moving. So like if something is within close to you, you can stab them. Mid-range creatures can be affected by thrown weapons. So it doesn't matter if the thrown weapon has a range of 4. Let me see. I think daggers have a range, are thrown 4. Javelins have a range of 8. So they can be reached with thrown weapons, or shorter range abilities like range or reach 4 to 6. And you can move, if something is mid-range, you can move close to it by spinning 1 movement. And then far can be affected by longer range spells, bows, that kind of thing. You can move close by moving twice. So just adding a little bit of clarification for these, for people who don't like to play on the grid, or if you just want to play Theater of the Mind, you can do that. Okay, so things like that, I'm tweaking and adding, and again, like here, just improving some of the iconography, clarifying some of the different little bits and bobs. So if we go down to combat, um, so like here we say attack primary. So like what catches your eye here? Attack, primary die, exploding crit, rush attacks. But here we have attack, missing, exploding critical hits, rushed attacks. Okay. Um, so like just sort of improving the hierarchy of information for some of these things, describing difficult terrain and like just massaging some of the wording and fixing some things. We're not changing any of the rules. We're just making improvements where we can. And just improving some of the layout things just so it's easier to read, more pleasant on the eyes. Like not that this wasn't bad, this wasn't good, but like having this piece of art spanning 2 pages, and a little bit of it was lost. So we have just like a little bit more, a little bit prettier, a little bit cleaner layout. That kind of stuff is what I've been working on there. Little quality of life improvements that people have been asking for. Okay, so loot tables. I think we can have like 1d20, and let's just get. I don't want A. I want letters. I want numbers. How can I have numbers? No. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, garbage. So yeah, let's just change it back to bullets. So for the crummy loot table, we don't need to be like incredibly granular. We don't need to be super granular. That's what Daggerheart does for loot is 1d12 common, 2d12 for rare, 3d12 or 4d12 for legendary. Could you explain what that means? What does that mean? Oh, and then like, is it like the sum of those dice? So is it just one chart where the sum of those dice is like how high on the chart or how far on the chart that you get? Is that what that means? Yeah, so like there's always a small chance that like the monster that you're fighting like just happened to have stolen something like really, really cool. Yes, one chart, okay. And we might do something like that. I was thinking something like that for the Dungeoneering rules, but we'll see. We'll see. I kind of like this idea. So we're probably not gonna have like 5 different garbage items. We'll just say like 1 through 5 garbage, 6 through 10, paltry, some, 11 through 1, 5. Decent for the level, and then 16 through 19. Is going to be like actual useful loot. Potions, quest things. Potions, quest things. Potion. Common magical items. Quest things. I don't know if we'll have quest things in there. Maybe they'll just say like, yeah, you can throw in a quest thing wherever you like. Like how exciting would it be? Like, all right, yeah, you killed the thing. Like roll a d20. Let's see what you get. Natural 20. Woo! All right, roll again. We get to go up to the next loot chart. You get to roll again. Like that's even more exciting, right? So like even if you roll a 1, like that 1 is still better than everything else on the previous thing. And like, there's a small chance you roll a 20, and then a 20, and then a 20. Like, all right, you found the best item in the game. Maybe, I don't know. What are the odds of that? What are the odds of that? Let me just check. What are the odds of D20? You roll 4 of them, and then all dice equal 20. Probably not great. 1 in 160,000. I'd say if yeah, that's fine. If you're able to roll that like lucky, you get a cool thing. Camfrey, hey, thanks for backing. All right. The Cairn 2E Dungeon Events table is certainly something to look at for the GM side. Ooh, I think I backed Cairn. I probably have the PDFs somewhere. That's cool. I'll check it out. Just gonna take a screenshot of that. Yeah. Okay. All right, then great loot. This is going to be 1 to 5, common magical items, 6 through 10. Maybe plus gold. 10. Uh-oh. Push some button. That's brutal. Mounted rules are still being worked on, but likely if you're riding a horsey, and you like your speed is normally 6, the horse has like a 10 movement speed. Like, you can spend one action to have the horse move 10, and if you get off, then like now you just have your regular speed. But yeah, I guess you could do that. Why not? 11 through 15. Uncommon magical item, and then you guys will never guess what the next one is. 16 through 19 plus gold. We have 1 through 5. 6 through 10. (11 through 15, 16 through 19. Rare. So is it going to be exactly this? Probably not exactly this, but will it bear a resemblance to this? Probably. Each item is bespoke. 1 through 20. So I think here each item is sort of bespoke, and then like, so for like these, it's probably like it might have 20 different lines. Will there be new loot cards for Dungeoneering? Probably. It depends on what kind of budget I have for like the number of cards. So currently there are over 300 cards. There are over 300 cards ordered. So I have to see how many cards are going to be used with spells and abilities and items and that kind of stuff. But one thing I want to do is I said this before. So like I want to have cards that just like on the backs are all the same. These are just example cards of other things. So it could be like you kill the boss. All right, one of these cards is like super duper good loot. Maybe like two of them are like pretty good loot, and then like three of them or two more are like okay loot, right? So you can draw. So it would be sort of like instead of using this chart, or maybe in addition to it. So you shuffle them up, and you let the heroes pick one. Or maybe like each hero gets to pick one or something like that. And then if you got the the good thing or the bad thing or the medium thing, and maybe the card wouldn't say like what the loot is, because that would just be too many cards. The card would probably say like you get to roll on the great loot table with advantage. Like that's like the biggest thing, right? And then the other one might just say like you get to roll on the great loot table, and this one might say roll on good loot, and like the other two just like roll on a common loot table. Or maybe it'll just say like you get like 20 gold pieces or something. So it's gonna have stuff like that, but for actual items to hand out, at least I'd like to have like potions and things that you want to have like on hand so that you remember you have them. But for like your common, like I have this armor, that armor, like that's sort of just a line on your character sheet. So probably not that, just because it would be just a ton of cards. I think we can use the card budget a little bit more wisely. Things that I want it to be things that you actually use, not just things just to have it. Dual rules? Maybe, possibly. So how I would imagine right now is like every turn you roll initiative. Yeah, every turn you roll initiative. So you don't know like so you might have like back-to-back turns. Like you went second this turn, and then you went first or round. You went second last round, and you went first this round. Like you can have back-to-back turns, which could be huge. So it'd probably be something like that, because if it's just like I hit you, you hit me, I hit you, like it has to there has to be some like some give and take. Maybe that's something I could give some thought to. What do you guys think of dueling rules as a potential thing, as a potential stretch goal? The demon defines a loot table, correct? Yes, this would be a demon facing thing. I do love luck as a stat. So like 50, it's gonna be like 65 of them are gonna be spells. At least 65 of them are gonna be spells. And then there's the 15 classes. Each of them is gonna have roughly 10 or so abilities. So let's just get out our little handy dandy calculator. Okay, so there is I think 65. I want to say 65 spells altogether now. That's not including the utility spells. I might include some of the utility spells. Plus the 15 classes, each has roughly 10, so plus 150, so that's 215. And then I want to include some of the action cards. So maybe enough action cards for 4 players. So 3 times 4 is 3 times 4? Or 4 times 4? What? Maybe like 16 plus 16 action cards plus maybe like 6 different potion cards. You don't think duels is really in the spirit of tactical combat? Yeah, not necessarily. It could be. I would think like a tag team wrestling match is more like in the spirit of tactical. Like when do you tag the other guy in? No, not player versus player, but like one-on-one. Like the guy challenges you like to one-on-one fight. It could be a cool like story moment. What other things am I thinking? Maybe like maybe like another maybe like 16 different loot. Well, I lost it. I don't know. We have enough budget to work with. Probably not subclass cards. That would eat up all of the budget, I think. And some of the subclasses wouldn't fit on it, but maybe. Yeah. So I've got a spreadsheet of like all the different ideas and things, and it's good. It's gonna be close, but there's enough wiggle room for me to sort of figure out all of to sort of massage it a little bit. Yep. Okay. All right. So let's keep cooking. Okay. So a loot table could look something like that. I think that might be pretty cool. That might be pretty cool. Trap table. I think traps should be like sort of like somewhat level appropriate. So like the damage would scale to level. There would still be like a more deadly level 5 trap and a less deadly level 5 trap, but it should scale to level somewhat. So it should just be like genre of traps. What am I looking for? Like different groups of traps, not like specific traps. Snare trap, pit trap. Is it boulder or boulder? Okay, it's that. Rolling boulder. Give me some traps. Poison gas. I guess we don't have to keep saying traps everywhere. Arrow hallway, swinging blades, arcane runes. We want different traps that that like you can use multiple different kinds of skills for. A riddle? Is a riddle considered a trap? And I want to show you guys real quick the updated character sheet. So I'm thinking of having like different icons for each of the different things, so that rather than like so like my int goes up one, I can just look for all the book icons. I think something like that would be pretty cool. So it like color coded. So if you have it in color, you can just look at the yellow ones. But if you don't have it in color, then you still have at least this. So I think something like that would be cool. But we have Arcana Examination. Okay, so maybe like a false door trap would be cool. False door. Finesse. Locked door. So that's not really a trap. That's more of like an obstacle. Let's say trap slash. Maybe it's traps slash obstacles. Carvings. Pictographs. That's how it's called, right? Yeah. Just checking. Influence. Yeah, angry monster. Might attack, might not. Angry monster, that's influence. We have lore. Might. Falling rocks, logs. Naturecraft. Stealth. Nearby monsters. noise trap. So like this is if someone, like you make a lot of noise and then someone nearby is alerted, now can you stealth and avoid these monsters who are going to come like by and patrol, that kind of thing. Okay, let's see what you guys... Zone of silence trap. I don't know what that would do. Oh yeah, closing walls, ceiling. So we want the traps to be a setback and not like an ending. Like closing walls / ceiling is something where it's very likely to be like, is it gonna just like squish you a little bit or is it gonna like crush you? So nobody wants to lose their hero due to a trap. They should be a setback. They should not end a hero, probably. Yeah, I need to send some more ads, some more designs to the people who are running that. Yes, thank you for the reminder. I've got it on my list. It's right down here. Thank you, Oberon, for doing that. That does make a difference. Okay, let's see what trap ideas you guys have. Yeah, that is a cool idea for like dueling kind of things. It'd be like way too fiddly for like just regular combat, but like a little bit more granularity if it's just a one-on-one, like the strategic thinking. Large list of loot. I find the current nimble next missing. Yeah. There's going to be a whole bunch of loot items. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, turtle. Traps are so hard to make. Would love to see this be tackled. Yeah. So my idea of traps is that generally they should be seen. They should be seen, that they're obvious. So like the fun part of traps is not noticing the trap. The fun part, like maybe like 90% of the time, they should be seen and obvious. So the fun part of traps is overcoming them creatively, or like falling into them, or like pushing your enemies into them. So like traps are not fun if they're just like, oh, you didn't say I was checking for traps when you enter this room, therefore you lose 20 hit points. Like, all right, every time, so I'll just write on count. Every time I enter a room, I check for traps. Like, you don't want to do that. Then it's just bookkeeping. So you want them to be obvious, usually. It could be secret. All right, so let's say the trap commandments. 1 should be obvious. 90% of the time, at least. So some being hidden is fine. Or if you are looking for the trap, it's easier to overcome. Okay, so we enter this room. You weren't specifically looking for traps. You're doing other things. That's fine. But you do notice this trap. But maybe you don't notice like all the intricacies of it. So it'll be a little bit harder for you to overcome this trap, because like you're just like, oh, I spot this, but you didn't like spot this other part of the trap. So if you're looking for the trap, it's easier to overcome. So you're still rewarded for like being alert for them, because looking for traps instead of like doing some other thing is a cost, right? So you should be rewarded for that. So almost always they should be obvious. Okay. Commandment 2. Damage should scale to level. Okay, if some... Okay, it's okay if some are a bit more deadly or easy. Okay, 3. They should be a setback or obstacle to overcome cleverly. They should not end a hero, usually. Again, like 90% of the time. Fun of the traps are okay. That's the fun of the trap, not noticing it. There we go. So if you foreshadow a trap well, it can be hidden. Okay, so those are sort of the rules of thumb that I'm thinking. Ooh, a darkness trap, that'd be good. A light level system. So I would keep this very, very simple. So if we go back to the core rules, there is a bit on light, and it's just this. Heroes cannot typically see in the dark. So for the dungeoning rules, it's going to be a little bit more granular than this. Fighting in the dark, blah 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 blah. A torch typically lasts for one dungeon or one level of a very large dungeon. A lamp with oil can typically last for one entire outing until your next safer. So, torches and lanterns cast light up to 6 spaces away. Beyond this is darkness. Okay, so I don't know if so I know a lot of games, like I like how Shadow Dark does it. Like each real world hour is like one torch. I like that. It's like you don't have to mark a bunch of like usage check boxes on your sheet. I find that to be a little bit tedious. So I don't want to have to track like, oh, it's been an hour and a half, you guys. You only got another 30 minutes of this time of this thing left. I don't really want to mark that. So that like hearing that about Shadow Dark, I backed it right away. Because that is such a clever idea. So I'm not opposed to that. And that does incentivize players to like not dilly dally, to sort of get to the point. So that is very much in line with the spirit of the game, at least to a certain degree. So you say, hey Siri, set it a 1 hour timer. No, don't do it.
1
hour. Hey Siri, cancel that timer. Sorry, everybody. So I don't think I want to mark like usage on it, but like maybe one of the dungeon. All right, so let's go to here. So dungeon turns. So I think dungeon turns. I think we are going to have dungeon turns, and it is going to be like every 10 minutes, because that is a common custom, and it does make sense as it being that. Where's my mouse? Oh, there it is. Torch goes out. So like torch goes out. Like that could be one of the things that happens. So you're going along and you're rolling dice, like everybody gets to do a thing, and there's a chance that your torch goes out. It'll be a low chance. Role playing with her. Yeah. I can't say that name again, otherwise she'll start talking. So a chance that the torch goes out. Now I'll get caught up with chat in just a second. Monster encounter. It's going to be friendly. Hostile. What is it if I want to say maybe friendly, maybe hostile? What is that word? Angry? That's not the word I'm looking for. Okay, so monster encounter, and then there's going to be easy, medium, and hard encounters. Those are like different levels of suspicious monster. Yeah. Genderland games. Let me just scroll down. Yeah, so Derek is actually at Gamma this week, and otherwise I'd be chatting with him. Yes, next week maybe I'm planning on chatting with him about some of these Dungeoneering rules, but I'd like to have enough to show him so that once we start talking, then we'll be able to like, oh yeah, instead of this, right? So I don't want him to develop the rules for me. I'd love to have his feedback on like, ooh, this is a great idea, and like, ooh, no, that like this other game tried that and it was terrible. So like he's very, very good about that kind of thing. So yes, very, very good thought. Neutral, ambivalent. Yeah, that's not exactly what I was going for. Slip and slide trap. I think that would be a little bit more of a complex trap, like multiple things. But yeah, we can add that. Slip and slide, and then like presumably like into a pit. Ooh, an illusion. Illusions could be good. Okay, best traps I've ran have been secondary objectives to deal with while fighting monsters, or the monster stops when the trap's dealt with. Yeah, potentially. Vines, thorns, yeah. Vines / thorns. Yeah, so I think these are not going to be just traps, but like traps and obstacles, maybe. Maybe they're two different things. Maybe you like you roll in the dungeon thing, here's an obstacle. You roll in the dungeon thing, here's a trap. I think the obstacles are going to be more common anyway. Yeah, I don't necessarily want them to be like super gonzo traps. Like the swinging blades already are like kind of gonzo, but potentially. Is it by accident or design that the digital core expansion comes with digital extras? That is on accident, actually. And what I'm thinking is, them Freeb. Let me know if this is a good idea. I think what I might do. All right, so let me just show you guys because this has come up a few times. 657, guys. 657 is where we are. Okay, so let me go to Glaciers. So the intent was that nobody gets the extras. Like it's an extra thing. Okay. But if you get the all in, you just get everything just so that it's easy, right? So the intent was like, nope, nobody gets these extras, but if you want them, they're add-ons. Just like you can get it if you want, but like by default, it's not included. And then on accident, I included the digital extras with a core plus expansion digital. So it was an accident. So and then like someone asked me that like, oh, was it supposed to be included? I was like, no, it wasn't, but it's in there, so I'll leave it. You know, I'm not gonna take it back after someone's backed it that way. And then people keep asking like, well, why does this one have the digital extras, the core plus expansion, and then this one doesn't? You know what I think I'm gonna do? I think I might just give anybody who's backing at the core plus expansion the digital extras, just so that they can have it and for a little bit more consistency and clarity. That does make sense. I think that does make sense. So the imfreeb, consider that done. Consider that done. I'll just go ahead and do that. I'll update it later, but I'll include that, and I'll send out a notification just in case like the 3 people who backed the core plus expansion and got the digital extras add-on so they can remove it so they don't have to pay anything extra. So yeah, I'll go and do that. I think that'll be a little bit more clear to do. All right, DeFi side, you like that? Good. Telegraphed traps is better than plain sight. Yes, that's sort of what I'm. That's what I intended. Yes. Okay. Goblin in a barrel. Yeah, I like that. Hidden monster. Waiting for you to be distracted. Yep, that's funny. I like that, Crumbs. Trap's really fun when you find the trap, and you could just skip these two middle things, and use it against the enemies in the dungeon. Yep, that is fun. Traps that increase monster passive abilities. Yeah. Traps that buff bad guys, maybe? Possibly. Yep. What is that liquid? Trap? Is that acid, or is that the good green goo? Monster on a leash. Hornet nest. Hornet nest. Monster on a leash. What would monster on a leash be? Would that be like Fluffy in Harry Potter? I gotta be careful about that one. I probably wouldn't do that one. People love their stuff. It feels like take away agency. Oh yeah, yeah. Dead end. Or just like being stuck in a maze. Traps that eat hit dice and HP. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about trap consequences. Obviously, lose hit points. Lose hit dice. So like what would cause you to directly lose hit dice? Like being exposed to something that doesn't damage you but does like reduces your ability to survive, like being stuck in a blizzard. Like it wouldn't really damage you, but like you'd lose hit dice. Lose time. What other? Okay, so I think losing items or gold, like you're there with a sphinx and he says, "Pay me money. If you pay me money, where's going on? Pay me money and I'll let you do X, Y, and Z." No, and I can choose to do that, or I could do it the easy way or the hard way, like that kind of thing. But yeah, what are the different consequences of traps? Lose time, having to go the long/dangerous way around, making an enemy. What are the consequences of traps we have? Yeah, traps that suck mana, maybe. Lose a resource. Mirror room trap. That would be sort of like a maze, I think, or an illusion kind of thing. Possibly. Maybe you could choose to search them loosely. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we'll get into that in just a bit. But yes, Gustavo. Yes, there would be some of those. Many short-term matters if you have a strict inventory system. And there's an inventory system in Nimble. You have 10 plus strength inventory slots. If you grab the spear, it lies between the ceiling and the ground with thorns. Yeah. A silence trap would be fun. I mean, then like it's silence traps. Like then, like the spellcasters can't do their things. I'd be careful about that. It could be fun. I probably wouldn't do that. The mechanic shadows. For your dungeoneering system, what's the player being tested on? So, great question. So, just at a meta level, we do want players to make choices quickly. Like we don't like the fun part isn't like and like everybody else waiting. That's not necessarily the fun part. If everybody is thinking and strategizing like at the same time, okay, that's cool. but we want things to be happening relatively quickly. So anything that incentivizes that is good. So I think like Professor DM or Mike Shea, one of these guys, they say like, hey, if you when your turn comes around, if you know exactly what you want to do, when I say it's your turn, like you get a +1 to damage or something like that. Just like a little bonus to like encourage the right like the desirable things. That kind of thing is good. So what kind of mechanics? So what I want to be able to what I want to capture is like the wise expending of resources and clever choices, and then heroes wanting to push the luck. Our resources are low because we've been going through this dungeon. Our resources are low, but each new room or each new level we descend to, the loot gets better and better and better. The risks get higher, but the loot gets better. So like with the limited resources we have, should we push our luck to the next room or should we go back to town to rest? Like that kind of thing. So that is the thing that we want to have happen. Tries to maximize one spell school lightning for all parties. So I don't think that would be a trap. Something I am thinking of is just like environmental conditions. Like it is a particularly sunny day, hot day in the summer. So um, uh, like fire spells deal a little bit more damage, or it's a windy day, so like any forced movement like is doubled, or like I'm thinking of things like that to where if you wanted to like add a little bit more cool stuff, like you have just a little bit more knobs to twist to like incentivize people doing different things. Like, oh, normally I only use lightning spells, but like in here it's not as good. Or if it's raining, like I usually don't use lightning spells, but like while it's downpouring, now lightning spells are better. Or it's icy. If you move more than once on your turn, then like you have to make a save, or else you'll fall down. Like something like that. Action rolls. Yeah, I think that's what's meant. Yeah, you have to be able to talk to cast spells. Rolls for reactions: morale, on guard, cautious, weary. Yeah, cautious. Yeah, there's no dark vision in Nimble. I think there is like a level 20 feet boon you can get, but that's GM facing. Mm-hmm. Monster spawning trap. Yeah, okay, that's cool. How quickly can you shut it down? That's cool. Or you just run away. Yep, exactly. Yes, yeah. Hornet nest, insect hive, that kind of thing. Dangerous creature infested waters. Dangerous spores, fungi. I think we might split up the traps and obstacles into 2 different things, because obstacles are just a bit different than traps. I'm not sure. Oh, okay, yeah. Explosion trap. I think that'd be like an arcane rude. Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. No, appreciate that. Great question. So if all traps are going to be telegraphed to PCs or the heroes, why would they want to engage with them? So yes, this is a big deal. So you don't ever want to have like, here is the room. There's a trap in the middle. What do you guys do? Well, we're here. We will go around the trap. Like you don't ever want to do that. Maybe every once in a while you do. Like if it's a tempting, oh, and there's a gold crown on top of the statue's head, but the statue is very suspicious. It's obviously a trap. So like in that situation where like the choice is, do you go for the loot and maybe risk the trap, or do you not? So like that's an interesting choice. But if it's just you could just go around it, then that's not interesting. But if it is like a false door, like maybe there's a riddle on the thing, and like there's two doors in this room, like one door here, one door here. One door leads to this, and one door is a mimic. You know, so you know there's a trap, but you don't know which one it is. Or like it's something that you still do have to engage with. Or like the water, like you're on this side of the room, and you would get on this side of the room, and like it's split by a big chasm, and there's like water with like piranhas, and you know, so you see the trap, and so the question isn't do you see the trap? The question is how do you interact with it? So it's not like, oh, you see a snare trap in the middle of the room, do you step in it or do you walk around it? So it's this, not that. Yeah, so great question. I don't think I'll ever do that, just because like your attributes are tied to so many different things, and like it's super annoying. Like, I think that's just like an annoying thing to do. Pitfall trap, yeah. Pit is one of the first things. There could be spikes at the bottom, or they're monsters or acid or something. Gain wound, lose movement. Oh yeah, that's good. Lose movement. Gain a condition. Poisoned, dazed. Afraid. It should be frightened. Frightened. So gain a condition. Yep. I think I have a thing of design knobs in here somewhere too. Okay, so in this document, we have hit dice, hit points, wounds, conditions, armor. Yeah, so maybe your armor goes down a little bit. That's a good one. Armor goes down a little bit. Cantrips. Yeah, that's one thing that we haven't added yet. It should be like, these are all temporary also. It's like your armor. And I would say, and it is being updated to be defense. So like if you can tell here on the character sheet, instead of armor, it's defense. Because like some heroes are fast and that's their defense. So it's reducing their defense. Mechanics are the same, but just the name is just clarified. Your armor can give you defense, but your speed can give you defense as well. Affects vision. That's interesting. I guess that would be like blindness or something. Oh, it could mislead. Ooh. Could mislead you. Physically or with information. It could tell you something that's wrong. That's interesting. Looks like exhaustion. There isn't exhaustion in Nimble. It's sort of wounds, and yes, that is that is one. Yeah, I guess gonna add that wounds. Yep, exactly. Bill, that's exactly what we're talking about. Extra dungeon turn. Yeah, okay. I like that. Random geekery. Separate the party. Yep. Split the party. Let's say split. Conditions. Gust of air puts out a torch. Yeah. Maybe extinguish a torch or other consumable. If inventory limits their supplies and deeper levels give better rewards, the consequence should be losing supplies. Yes, it should only be like their consumable things and not like their one sword or something, I think. And the Eric 303 has a good point. A party-wide supplies resource for dungeons or traveling could be introduced. Probably abstracting travel gear like torches and rope. Maybe. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, that is an interesting idea. We're abstracting a little bit. Take a screenshot of that. Let me take a screenshot of that. What about single table 20 entries? You roll larger dice depending on rarity. So common D4, rarity 12, legendary D20. Each item is more vague, like 19 is legendary. Yeah, it's something. So that's probably what the that's. I'll get to that in more in just a second. But I think I'm gonna do something like that for like the dungeon encounters, whether it's a trap or obstacle or something. Where if you roll a 1, it's always bad, and the higher you roll, the better it is. So that like if you're like in extreme danger, the dungeon, like on the dungeon's turn, the dungeon is going to roll a d4 or maybe d4 with disadvantage. And I think the players are going to be rolling the dungeon turns also, so that they know how dangerous it is. Like a DM or a GM can tell the players like, oh, it's super dangerous in here. But if they're normally rolling like a d12, like, oh yeah, sure, it's real dangerous. Yeah, we got a 1 in 12 chance of something bad happening. Now the GM says, all right, hey, Matt, go ahead and roll a d4 for the dungeon turn. All of a sudden, everybody's like, hang on, why is it a d4 all of a sudden? So at a meta level, you communicate the thing that you want to communicate. I think that's cool. The GM could always like do that secretly if they need a surprise, but yep, that's a good one. Oh, that's funny, yeah. Make vulnerable. That's funny. Elevator traps. Teleportation. I don't know about elevator traps, but teleportation could be fun. Different types of magical lanterns. Rich, could you clarify that? What do you mean? Yes. So right now what we're doing is we are gathering all of the ideas, and I'm filtering them some, but yes, I'm gathering all the ideas, and then we see how they work together, and then we start paring things down, and then we start optimizing, then we do play testing, and then we figure out the fun loop, and then there's too many choices, or there's not enough choices. We need more variety. We need a little bit more streamlined. So yes, this is how the design process works. But no, I'm not looking to add 1,000 new rules. These traps are ways to use creativity, ways to use your skills. All of this stuff is not more rules. This is a framework for the GM to use. Like the players don't need to learn any new rules. This is just a framework for the GM to play a certain way that that could be very helpful for them to have. But it's not like a new system, or it's not a new thing that the players have to learn, right? So they're still just making skill checks. They're still like using their creativity to get out of situations and stuff like that. So it's not like one of my favorite books. Let me see. One of my favorite books up here, Kingdoms and Warfare, where like there's like the whole like a bunch of new systems and things, which is really cool. But like learning how to fight like big, large scale army battles was like, oof. It was a new game that you were having to learn on top of the game that you were playing. So when I was running that campaign, I streamlined it heavily. And it ended up being like fun enough, but yeah, no, this isn't like a mini game on top of the game. This is using the already existing things that we have. So yes, I'm keenly aware of that, but very good reminder. Yep, we have noise trap. Everybody pass your character sheet 1 space to the left. That could be fun. That could be fun, but some people would not like that at all. Possibly. Yes. Traps should penalize players if they fail, but allow them to keep playing. An obstacle should reward overcoming them, but should not actively harm you for failing to overcome them. I think an obstacle could harm you. Like, thorns on the door. Like, it's not a trap, like thorny vines covering the door. It's not a trap, but it is an obstacle. It's something you have to get around. And like, you could like do it the smart way, like, sing to the plants and they'll move out of the way for you. Or you're just like, I hack at it with my axe. Yeah, that'll get you through, but like maybe you'll take a little bit of damage. Exit entry, route blocking, collapsing pathways, or one-way barrier. Good loot. I think we have that covered. Time trap, time of day change, more monsters in the night. That could be cool. Yeah, so a trap that ends the dungeon. I don't know that we would want to do that necessarily. That would be something that the GM would decide. So like the GM would decide, like, when Indiana Jones picks up this little golden doohickey, now you have to leave the dungeon, everybody. Yep, that could be cool. I don't want it to be annoying, like teleport back to the entrance. I don't want it to be annoying. And I don't want it to be like a letdown either. Time traps. Oh, that's funny. Arcane traps that sap your mana. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so like losing some resource is here. Yes, some of them can be like that. Some traps that are like very enticing, but you can just ignore it. That's good because it's an interesting choice. You know what you're giving up. You're giving up the fancy, cool looking whatchamacallit, but you're being safe. Or you're going to gain the fancy thing, but like you're taking a big risk. That kind of thing is cool. That choice is great. But if it's just like, do you want to interact with a dangerous thing with no reward, or do you want to go around it? Well, I think I'm going to go around it. Reduce actions. Yeah, that would be like dazed, like a condition, or insert a choice. Each action you choose for X time gives Y consequence. Maybe. Ooh, Jake, that is lucky. That is lucky. We're sold out. A couple of stores still do have them, so. Yep. Floor's lava trap. Yeah, we could specify lava slash. Black Haggard's resource die. Yeah, maybe. Then D6. Yeah, so I don't think we're tracking arrows. I don't think we're tracking arrows, but like the wounds that you're racking up and the hit dice that you're spinning, and like the mana and like that kind of stuff is more interesting, because like if the hunter runs out of arrows, that's like the mage not being able to cast cantrips, sort of. Some of it will be similar, but I think largely it's going to be overhauled with more useful information. For instance, like since there's going to be like now like 5 different mage subclasses, or maybe 6, we don't really need the chaos table on the GM screen. So that's going to just stay in the back of the GM guide. So we can make that be more universally useful. Oh yeah. Roll on the chaos table. Well, most of the chaos table things are like have to do with like when you cast the spell, but maybe. Abstract heat meter. Is that like Blades in the Dark? I was gonna say Shadow Blades. Blades in the Shadow Dark. Is that a Blades in the Dark thing? Oh, elevator traps. Okay. So that's cool, but I do want the heroes to be able to push their luck willingly and not be forced to push their luck. So I'd be careful about that one. Yeah, quicksand. Yeah. Good old standby quicksand. What about silent alarm trap? Yeah. Does nothing trap. No. Exalted does mass combat well. Is Exalted a new RPG? I don't know what that is. Net, yeah, net. We have snare, but I think a net is different enough. Net. A snare is like sort of grabs one guy and lifts him into the air. Net could be on the ground or. Yeah, that is cool. Paul. As a stretch goal? Yeah, maybe. Uh-oh. Okay. Time skip trap? All right, Matt. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. Matthew Collier, just stumbled across Nimble. Is the base rule set of the game meant to be a more pickup-friendly type of RPG? Yes. I don't really do session zeros. Like, I think that the best way to introduce new people to RPG, is say, "Here's your guy," or say like, "Pick here's." So what I did for my I showed my. I had my 7-year-old and my 9-year-old and their grandmother and my wife, like none of whom have ever. So I just opened up. All right, which of these looks cool? Just look at the picture. Which one do you want to be? And they all just picked one, and I just sort of give them a thing. And here you go. Here's your one thing you can do. And we'll don't worry about don't worry about all this. Like, you're in a tavern. You just start playing. I think that's the best way to start playing. So yes, it is absolutely 100% intended to be much more pickup friendly. So if you're doing it with like a long-term campaign and a group that you're used to playing with, and you just want to sort of like do some world building stuff together with the session zero, like yeah, that's super cool, and develop your characters together, totally. But what I like to do with new people is just start the game and just like hand them the die. All right, here, roll this die. This is called a d20. Just roll that and tell me what number you get. And then like, ooh, I wonder what this does. And like everything is so interesting if you just start playing right away. So that's what I prefer to do. Yes. So the rules in the Game Master's Guide are intended. There's an adventure in there. It's intended to teach you how to play as you play. So really, only the GM needs to read the core rules, and even that, the GM can sort of just skim them to get a good enough idea. And then the adventure in here, the Garden of Death, it walks you through how to play as you play. Yeah. So like minimal learning curve. Like I love playing like board games and stuff and new card games, but I hate learning how to play them. So I've made this as quick and painless as I could. Magnet trap. Ooh, I love that. That's funny. Maybe the elevator trap could just be in counter room. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there's a bunch of online resources. If you check out the Discord, there's a whole channel with like dozens, maybe hundreds of different things now. There's a bunch. There's tools for Alba Rodeo. There's Foundry. There's working on Alchemy. It's on Quest Portal and some other VTTs also. So there's a bunch of stuff around. Quicksand. Exalted is an old RPG. It treats troops as gear, essentially. Oh, that's interesting. Nice. Yeah, so I would probably do mass combat as like the heroes and an enemy party and a whole ton of minions. That's probably how I would do mass combat. I think that would be pretty fun. Yeah, that would be super cool. And like whenever a hero acts, they can also command like 2 or 3 minions to act also. I think that would be pretty cool. Traps that tries to kill imposter. Traps that catch you. Traps that scare you away. Possibly, yeah, that would be a bad way to do it. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Ferris. Yep, there are some like that already, for the goblins in particular. Okay, so let's so I could look through your guys' traps ideas for all day. So I think we have enough traps to get started with, and we have enough consequences of those traps. But what is the core gameplay loop? Loop. What is the core gameplay loop? I was reading the word roll here, and I said loop. So the core gameplay loop is a 10-minute turn. What is every their turn? You can move to the next area, obviously. You can search this area. So is it, so it, again, this is actively being developed. This isn't like the way that it's going to be, but these just sort of ideas that we have. All right. I hope she didn't make a mess. Happy birthday again. Can't give her. I only skim the core rules and still GM just fine. Nice. Okay. So not every dungeon will be like this, but this is going to be just for certain dungeons, I think, that are like certain level of danger. Nice. Yeah, cool. Yeah, if they're like teenage, yeah, they can definitely they can definitely pick it up real quick. Just describe the goblins coming in and spitting in their soup and stuff, and they're like, yeah, we're fighting these little guys. Okay, so the core gameplay loop might be that the GM So do we want to spell out each possibility, like each thing that they can do, or should it just be like more like general ideas and like you can actually do whatever you want? Everyone must agree. So like if you move to the next area, everyone must agree or split the party. Or GM could. Well, the GM could just decide this. No, maybe not. I think the GM telling the party, like making the party move on, is not what we want to do. Okay, move to the next area. Search this area. Traps, loot, secrets. Lore, that kind of stuff. Okay, so when you enter a room, so into your room, the GM describes the obvious like main things. But if you want more, you got to look around. You got to search a little bit. You can listen carefully. Let's scooch this down. Oh, we already have moved to the next area. Okay. Loot everything that you can see. It takes a while to pack your bags. Stuff all the apples you found into your backpack. I don't know if this is going to be the same as move to the next area. Attempt to bypass a stuck or locked door. Disarm a trap. Attempt to disarm a trap. Listen. Be on watch for monsters. Be on watch for monsters. Rest. Catch breath. Spend hit dice. I don't like abbreviating hit dice because HG looks too much like HP. Okay, so this is going to be the essential. All right, so any other actions that we can add or actions that we can streamline and combine? Yes, this is a game mechanic we're working on. This was one of the stretch goals for the Kickstarter. So the stretch goals down here. So one of the stretch goals was Dungeoneering rules. So like how to do like a lightweight rules framework to support old school dungeon delves. Yeah, so that is what this is, Matthew. Yep. Hey Terry, good to see you, man. Glad you're here. Yep. Yeah. So that is something that I'm blockade a door. So yeah, I don't think I want to have like a thing for each thing, but like, 3 or 4 main things and then like this. Like, and then anything else you want to do takes 10 minutes. At least. Oh, nice. That's cool. Running 4 characters. Run the game for teachers library? Cool. Yeah, doors are a big deal. Listening at doors or looking through keyholes to get in. Yes. Yeah, doors are a big deal. Mapping, I don't know. Mapping, I think I want to avoid. I think this should be a bit more abstracted than that. So it's like mapping. Mapping, what could mapping do? What can mapping do? It can find shortcuts and secrets or get you lost if you're bad at it. So a shortcut, so maybe like X treasure is 10 rooms into 10 rooms deep to this done. So maybe a treasure is 10 rooms deep in this dungeon. Shortcut equals skip 3 rooms. It's like something like that. Get lost equals plus 3 more rooms. Something like that. Like, so could we abstract it where something happens, they find a shortcut. Like, you found the secret in this room. There's a secret in this room, secret door. You go and like, all right, now you only have to do like that sort of thing. So you save yourself some time. You skip some dangerous bad things. Skip the rooms. Roll the next dungeon turn with. So maybe it's like a little bit more than that. You roll the next dungeon turn with advantage or disadvantage, like that. That kind of thing could be cool. Every time I see Matthew Collier, I see Matt Colville, Matthew Colville. So that's funny. Is the stretch goal with the ongoing case mode? Yes. Let's actually discourage the best basic combo for players to do every single room. How to prevent them from just watch, search, loot, and concentrate room. So watching is basically like, so you're in a room. Great question. So watching is you're in this room and here's the door, I guess. Here's the door and it's locked. So say you have 3 heroes. Like, one hero can try to lock the door, and then like maybe a second hero can help. Or if all 3, so like you increasing your odds, you basically get to roll the check with advantage. And then if all three heroes help, the chances of you unlocking the door on one dungeon turn like goes up, right? So if all 3 people are going to try to unlock the door, the odds of unlocking the door go up. But now nobody's watching, right? So the odds of them unlocking the door, but some creatures sneaking up behind them while they're doing that are higher, right? So if one person is trying to unlock the door, and then 2 people are watching, then they can either hear a monster. So like, you're not going to get snuck up on by a monster, and maybe you can tell the one guy, "Oh, be quiet! Like, don't try to do anything this turn, otherwise, like these monsters will come in here." So you wouldn't, like, if you have a party of 3 heroes, like this guy doesn't, like, you all sort of are doing something in that room, right? So if this guy is searching like things loudly, then like this other guy can't listen like at the door for like things that are happening. If this guy's unlocking the door, like these 2 guys can't move on, right? So I think everything is going to be some sort of trade-off. So like if I'm searching this room, so what did you say? Watch, search, and loot. So you can't loot until someone has searched it, and you can't move on until someone unlocks the door. And watching, yeah, that's a great thing to be doing. But if people are searching the room and making a lot of noise, then it might affect what you're doing, right? So I think that's roughly what it is. So the things that different people do affect what everybody else can do. So like nobody can move on until this door is unlocked. So are we okay with this taking 2 or 3 or 4 dungeon turns? Like eventually, like you'll be able to unlock the door. Like the question isn't if we can unlock the door. It's like, how long is it going to take? So unlocking the door in 1 turn, but while nobody's watching, is a trade-off that you can make versus like unlocking it across 2 turns with 1 person watching. Like it sort of becomes a little bit more interesting. And depending on the danger level of that room, like what die size you're rolling, like the heroes can like make different choices. Listen carefully might be vigil, yeah. Yeah, great question, Pale Prince. And let me take a screenshot of that. Is listen carefully different from keep watch? So listen carefully is sort of like listening. All of this is subject to change. So the idea is like you're trying to, before you unlock the door, you're trying to listen and see if you can hear anything on the other side of that door. So like before we unlock this door, should we just wait, just unlock it right away, or should we try to like? Yeah, I think the quiz is clear. Interesting. It's like the journey feature of Lord of the Rings books, and I think I think this was Edward sent me the One Ring. Is this what you're talking about? Lord of the Rings AIME books. I don't know what AIME books are, but if it's the One Ring books, Edward did put together a like a Cliff's Notes version of it. It might be. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but it might be. 657. Oh, 658. 658, everybody. Cool. Cool. Yeah, I'm not sure. You liking what you're hearing? All right, all right. Are there plans to have an adventure for delving? Yes, I think so. I think so. Stretch goals. I thought there was. Maybe, yeah. I would like to have a like an example of how to use the Dungeoneering rules. I would like to have that. Manipulate dungeon. So clear rubble, examining lore revealed to should be relevant to the game enough that unearthing it gleams insight. Manipulate dungeon. I don't know. That's directionally correct, but specifically not. I think. Bill James, yeah. If feel free to send it over if you have any cool thoughts or feedback, or like this is the first time I'm getting into this kind of thing, but I'm liking the direction that it's going. So if you already have some battle tested cool ideas that are working for you, yeah, I'm all ears. I'm definitely open to. Oh, Lord of the Rings AIME is Adventures of Middle Earth, one of the precursors to the One Ring. Okay. Some action to establish safe paths for backtracking. I think backtracking is going to be like safe enough to where like the fun part isn't like the fun part I think is pushing your luck and like solving the problems, but like backtracking like should be easy enough to just backtrack or just to narrate past. So let's write that down. Backtracking, I think. Interesting part is pushing luck with. Interesting part is pushing luck with delving deeper and overcoming. Not. Maybe that part could be narrated past. Maybe a single roll. I don't know. I think backtracking isn't the juice here. I think the forward tracking is the juice. Right on. Yeah. Check out Matthew. Check out the Homebrew channel, or just ask around. People will definitely send you some links. Barricade an area to own this section of the dungeon. This section of the dungeon. Yeah. You could like barricade a door, clear rubble, make rubble. Lost sound. Hopefully we didn't lose sound. Some abilities and spells like take a bit longer. Some abilities already do that. But like the whole 10-minute thing is like a excuse me, like a short rest is for everybody to regain their hit points. So I don't really want different people like wanting to short rest for different reasons. So that has sort of been held special just for that. Would hero actions in the dungeon be resolved sequentially or simultaneously? So I think the GM. Okay, yeah, great question. What order would heroes then dungeon usually? I think, obviously. They'd be resolved in the most according to the GM. Yeah, I think they would just be resolved in whatever order makes the most like logical sense. So if someone says they're moving and then someone says they're unlocking the door, well, you can't unlock the door unless there's like a clear, or you can't move unless there's like a clear path ahead. You can't like move forward. So you have to do that first. Or if someone is like listening quietly and someone else is clearing rubble, like, well, you can't do that. Right. So I think I have in here. So yeah, use common sense. So that this is going to be like the key thing. I don't want to have rules for like, oh, you can only do this action if nobody else is doing these other actions. Then you can only do this action if, like, use common sense. If someone's making a bunch of noise, you can't do it. A hero must be able to see or at least hear in order to keep watch. If their allies are being noisy, they can't rely on hearing. If it's dark, they need some source of light. Use common sense. Okay. What do you think of a hide action to avoid an encounter if one were to happen for a dungeon turn? Yeah, you could definitely do that. I don't know that would be like a hide action necessarily. Maybe it would. Maybe it would. Lay low. Group stealth check to hide from a... Yeah, maybe. So like this isn't a new system. It's just, all right, since this guy was watching and he heard, hey, psst, quiet, pipe down, someone's coming. And then now the next dungeon turn, everybody decides to lay low. And now they can make a group stealth check. So the wandering monster doesn't come and whatever. So like we're using the things that are already there. Ooh, yeah, setting traps for falling monsters, that could be cool. Also setting tarps would be fun too. Yep, the longer you take, yeah, so the dwindling resource. So the longer you take, then the more your torches go, the more other things happen. So we're just taking a screenshot for later. yeah, we'll definitely be doing some playtesting. Cool. Do you already have the actions a DM would be taking? No, we're cooking up those now. For example, my group will never push their luck as this currently exists because we will never risk death when legendary items are possible at Delve level 1. I'm not sure what that means. Carl, could you explain what that is? Fixed D&D. By the way, I do like your username. Yeah, Hero could make a skill check to get knowledge about the dungeon or rumors from a big lurking monster in retrospective. Sure. Okay, so 10-minute turns. That resolves. Then the GM asks one hero to make a dungeon roll. Okay, hero. Okay, so like I want to be specific that like this is just an example. These are just examples and not like the hero actions that you have to remember, like TM, right? So like these are not. That's not the TM. No, that's not the. Okay. Shift T. Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. So these are not like the actions you can take. These are just some actions that you can take, and you can use your creativity, and you can do whatever you want. Okay. Dungeon turns. So I think these are going to be ordered since the GM isn't going to be The GM isn't going to be like deciding necessarily, maybe. Could the GM sometimes decide? Yeah, maybe some of these roles could be like GM's choice. One bad thing. Okay, I think I already have this here somewhere. Maybe I don't. Okay, so what is turns? Hostile monster fight. So okay, so Dungeons one monster lock doors, rearm, traps, create. Okay, so for like a video game that would be super duper cool, but for this, like there are, it's like in the fantasy there are monsters populating this dungeon, but as a GM at playing a game at a table, I don't want to have to know like there's this many monsters and each of them are on all these different rooms and all this sort of stuff. It is all abstracted from that. The mechanics are abstracted from it. It like we find out what happens rather than tracking everything that happens. So I'm not spawning monsters. It's like there's a monster encounter. Like a monster comes, right? So I'm not spawning monster in like a room like 5 rooms away, and they're like, oh, in this turn he moves, and in this turn he moves. It's not mechanical in that sense. I think that would be way too much to track. But the idea, yes. So hostile monster fight. Obstacle. There should be nothing. Trap. Obstacle. Okay, so let's think about this. Okay, so maybe it's going to be like events. Bad event. Okay, so this is probably going to be like a roll 2 dice, and then like the left die means this and the right die means that, or like left die means, so like if you roll a 1, then you add them up, and then that's what it is. Can you find what pushing luck actually means? If it means risking death for faster rewards. So if you go to level 1, then like you can get some rewards. If you go to level 2, the rewards increase. If you go to level 3, the rewards increase more and more. So the hero, there should be things in the dungeon that the heroes want, and there's more of those things the deeper you go. And at any point, what makes it interesting is that at any point you can turn around and leave. So they're only here willingly. I think is the fun part, because if they have to keep going, well, that's not interesting. It's just, well, we have to keep going because there's not a choice: go forward or turn around. So if your table always wants to play it safe, then like maybe like if they reach the end of level 1 and everybody still has all their hit points and like they got some decent loot, and you tell them, hey, there's even cooler stuff the next level, like, yeah, it's safe enough to go to level 2, right? Or like, oh yeah, we're having fun exploring this dungeon, learning some lore, finding loot, overcoming traps and things. Like, we're having fun. This process is the fun part. Let's keep having fun, right? So then they can keep going. So that is the reason to go. I'm not sure about this. Let me take a screenshot of that. I'm not sure about that. How do we distance returning to previous position instead of pushing luck? I think it might just be like once you leave the dungeon, like all the monsters, like once you like it takes time to get from the dungeon to the town. So in the day or week or whatever that it takes, all the monsters that you cleared out, all the traps that you cleared out, are going to come back. So you'll have to work through all of that anyway. Maybe it's that. Or like if you clear out all this dungeon and then there are other heroes in the world, like they might come and like take the good loot that's in the next level, you know? So because you cleared out all of this stuff. Yeah. Leave a like, you guys. Thank you, Edward. Good to see you, man. I hear interesting ideas that you could one cool fantasy anime like weapons with 2 modes. Okay, that's cool. Events, yes. Yeah, how are you guys feeling about things? L5R has mass combat. I've been half noodle. Elberon, feel free to email me or send me a link or DM me on Discord or whatever. Send me a couple of bullet points. Like what made it the best mass combat rules you've ever seen in Run? Like what made it cool? And I'd be happy to help noodle on it with you. Oh, how about better treasure roll chances the more? Yeah, that's the idea. So like at level 1, you just roll a d20. For instance, in the level 2, you get to roll at level 2, you get to roll on like the second. So if we just go here, so common loot. This is on level 1 of the dungeon. Common loot is on level 1 of the dungeon. You only start getting into the good loot at level 2 of the dungeon. For instance, I can spell. It's hard for me to spell while I'm talking. And then the great loot, like you only start to get into this at level 3. For instance. Yep, that's the idea. Or it could be that like you're always rolling a d20, but at level 1 you add nothing to it. At level 2 you add 10 to the roll, right? So that you're rolling on one table, you're adding 10 to the roll. So like this spills over into the next table. Level 3 you add 15 or 20 to the roll, something like that. So it might be one table where you can only roll the highest. So maybe like rolling a 20 is like you roll again and add it to the next roll. So maybe it's that, like an exploding crit. That would make sense since we're using like an existing system. That would be kind of cool. So maybe it's going to be just one table. I do kind of like that. Or one big table on 20. Roll again. Yeah. So level 2, you just add 10 to the roll, so that worst case you're going to get like a decent gold P for the level. Best case, 20 plus, you're going to be like here or somewhere. You're going to be in the great loot table. So that could be cool. So that there's variability. There's a band of variability there. In my project, monsters, traps, and such restock. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And like that would make sense why like the higher levels of it, like the first levels of it, have less loot, because like people have come and taken it already. Maybe each level's at 1 extra d20. Yeah, I just have to math it out and see what the curve looks like, see what the odds are for each different thing, and see what feels good. But yes, there's lots of different ways to squish the numbers in the direction that you want. Yeah, good to see you, by the way, London. Okay, so what do the bad turns look like? So something that I'm thinking is this. Okay, the dungeon turn. the dungeon turn. So player's going to roll 2d6. So like by default, it's going to be 2d6, I think. Okay, so if the primary die, the leftmost one, is a 1, they get a monster encounter. Okay, so you get a 1 in 6 chance of a monster encounter, generally. By default. 1d4 with a... Okay, so players roll 2d6 by default. If the primary die rolls a 1, you get a monster encounter. Okay. Let's say they get combat. An unavoidable monster encounter. If the sum of the dice okay, so we can like use the primary die as like what happens, and then the sum of the dice as like how good or bad that thing is. So if you roll a 1 and a 6, maybe it's like an easy encounter, like 7 total. That's an easier encounter, right? So that the larger dice you have, the fewer and safer the encounters are, but you could always roll 2 1s, right? I think that kind of thing is pretty cool. Okay, and then the sum of the dice. Yeah, I like that. Okay, maybe doubles. Rolling doubles means some other event happens too. So maybe rolling doubles means some other event happens too. Light goes out, etc., etc., etc. So like we need some way to track time passing, or like. And I don't want it to be like, oh yeah, after 6 dungeon turns the torch goes out. That is simulationist, and it makes sense, but I don't want to have a sheet with a bunch of different boxes that I'm ticking. I don't like that. I'd rather it just be, if you roll doubles, like if you roll 1-1, you get a monster encounter, and it's hard. It's a hard encounter, and your light went out. Oh no, like that's about as bad as it gets, right? I think that's really cool. But if you're rolling d4s and you get a 4 and a 4, like something good happens, and like there's a good event, right? That kind of thing would be pretty cool, I think. Rival crawlers. Oh yeah, that's a cool idea. That's a cool idea. Doubles. Double 1s. Torch goes out. 2. Let's say rival party. 3. Some twist. I don't know. Now we're getting to the hard part. Wasn't that a card game? I know L5R was like a card game, wasn't it? Old school games didn't have restocking rules. Yeah. Yeah, and like so, like this is just the framework, not like the adventure itself. So like if you had like Dungeon of the Deep, crazy thing, deep under mountain dungeon, then you could have like, oh, when you get to level 3, like there's a teleportation thing that you can recommission, and you can teleport back to town and come back. That sort of becomes your save point. Like if the goal is to get to the end of the dungeon, like you could certainly do that kind of thing easily enough, but like that wouldn't really be part of the framework. Yeah, the skill challenge GC increases. Yep. That makes sense. Yeah, yep, London, good thinking. Resource die or need options start at high dice, roll it often. Every time it's a 1, event happens and the die gets smaller. I do like that. I like that idea. So it's sort of like some games will have like cards, like cards with all the numbers on them, so that each card you draw means that like, so like if like one of these is the whammy card, like say like this is the whammy card, and it's shuffled in here. Each card that you draw increases the odds of the whammy happening. I do like that kind of thing, to where like each time you roll a 1, some other clock ticks down. Maybe that's okay. Resource die are need options. Start at high dice. Roll it often. Every time it's a 1, an event happens and the dice gets smaller, making events more likely. So in general, I like to... So I think I understand what you're saying, but I'm not sure if I do. I like to have mechanics where you can reliably count on it happening, like the floor and the ceiling are both kind of fun. I don't want something to I don't want to have some mechanic where like it happens 0 times, but like this is like the cool mechanic. And I don't want it to happen like 12 times, you know, where it's like it happens so much that it's annoying. Or we in one outing, one session, we do all of the cool things. So like some number like above 1 but less than 20, like where like all of these are possible. So that kind of thing is cool. That kind of thing is cool. I mean, things happening is usually resource or narrative, so it could mean environment acts against you. Yeah. So like if you're in sewers, poisoned. Something like that, maybe. Yes, it's something that happens in the dungeon. I like the dice. You like the eye? Okay, cool, Terry. Card game and RPG, yeah. You get an encounter, but ceiling collapses. Yeah, maybe we need to talk about this more. Even has a D20 5e book now. What is that about? Oh, L5R. Okay, yep. Cool. I didn't know that. You trigger trap and that looks at a monster. Any way that you can make it down, you can tie the vibes of the game to a tactile sensation. Number dice. Yeah. What if it was something like this? What if it starts off and you're rolling... so dungeon level 1, it starts off and you're rolling 4d6. All right, so let's get the desk camera out so we can do some test rolls. Okay, so what if it was something like this? All right, so at the beginning of the dungeon, you roll... I'm gonna zoom out. Okay, sorry guys. Start of the dungeon. Why is it... Oh, is this backwards? Oh, it's just tilted the wrong way. There we go. Okay, so start of the dungeon, you roll 4 dice. So that you can still get a monster encounter, but the monster encounter isn't going to be super duper hard. So since the sum of the dice is always going to be relatively high, right? Okay, so the leftmost die determines what happens, and the sum of the dice determines how bad that thing is, right? Let's scooch that over. Move this. Sorry, guys, we're trying to get it to work. There we go. And again, if anybody knows why that happens all the time, you let me know. Okay, so the sum of the dice determines how bad that thing is, how good or bad that thing is. So this, for instance, so we have, I can't add 8, 9, so we have 15 total. Okay, so, okay, the sum of the dice determines how easy or hard the encounter is. So let's just go back here. Let's say 2, as bad as it gets. Hard/deadly encounter. 3 through 4 is, you know, bad. 5 through 6 is maybe like the spread would probably increase. 5 through 8, neutral. 9 to yeah, 5 to 9 neutral, and then 10 plus is maybe good. Maybe it's that. Okay. So let's just hold that in our mind. So 2, because rolling ones is let's just say 1 to 2. 1 to 2 is as bad as it gets. Okay. So if we go back to our dice that we rolled, so this is 15. So like we get so 3. So something happens, and it's like kind of a good thing that happens. Okay, cool. And if we roll again, so like so we get a 2. So like maybe there's an adventuring party or something. Okay. So what am I talking about? So what if every time what if like when something happens, maybe if we roll a 1 here, then we instead of an encounter, we can say, all right, we'll just permanently we'll just remove one of these dice. Okay. Or like what if when we go from level 1 to level 2, the second level of the dungeon, we remove a die. That could be cool. Yeah, so what if the heroes had a choice that whenever something bad happens, instead of that bad thing happening, they can just remove that die permanently. And then now, like, they're just rolling 3. They're rolling 3 dice. Okay, so we have another thing. Okay, so, like, nothing happens. We roll another thing. And then, something. 1, 1, 1. This is as bad as it gets, right? So, like, yeah, we're too low on resources. We can't handle another bad thing happening. We'll just permanently remove a die. And, like, so each time you do that, like, the dungeon gets more dangerous. Like, maybe that's the luck mechanic. Ooh. Maybe that's a luck mechanic. A luck mechanic. Spend luck. Remove a die. That might be cool. What do you guys think about that? Maybe that is a luck mechanic. Instead of a bad thing happening, they can spend. Okay, I don't have to write all that again. I kind of like that. That feels pretty cool because it gives you a choice. It gives you a choice. And like you can clearly see the risk reward. I do worry about, so this is a good point. Okay, so I do worry about the amount of math you're doing, maybe 2d10 for the sums. Okay, so that is a good point. So if it's something like this, if we have like a bunch of dice, so if the sum is like 10 or more, so like I don't have to add all this up, like just glancing at it, this is 10 or more. Like I just know that. Okay, so nothing bad happens, right? So if all we're having to do is like tell if it's 10 or more, like then that makes it easier. But if we only have like 2 or 3 dice, so now we like, so again, I don't have to add all that up. This is more than 10. All right, so if we do this, okay, I know this is not more than 10, right? So like 5 and 3. So like by the time you're adding it up, there's so few of them that it doesn't really matter. So 8, 8 is like something neutral happens, right? So that could work. So that is a very, very good point. So if something maybe it's not something good happens, maybe it's no encounter, maybe. Maybe this is an easy encounter, maybe this is like a medium one. Yeah, so something like that would be good, because like no encounter is good, right? Okay, so yeah, let's think about this. Okay, so we've got all these dice. So even if we do roll a 1, if the sum is 10 or more, there's no encounter. I'm gonna have to math it out and make some spreadsheets, but maybe like if you roll a 1 and there's no encounter, like maybe that's when it happens, or like we're starting to zero. This is what the design looks like. We're starting to zero in on the mechanics that make it feel fun and give choices to them. And I think having this being hero focused, like at least something that the players can. Let me swap this red one out for this beautiful other one, even though it's a different size. That's okay. So having it something that the heroes are in control of and can see, I think, is a good thing, because it makes the choices interesting. If I don't know how dangerous or safe this area is, then it's not interesting. It's random. It's random if I go forward or not. Yeah, I think we might be onto something, you guys. Seeing the primary die in sum is a good alternate. That's, yeah, again, so that's what I'm saying. That's how we play already. Sticking to the primary die in the sum is good, is a good alternate. That's how we play already. So yeah, I'm trying to use all of the things that we do already. We look at the primary die and we look at the sum, and that's it. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, and then, so what if you are any journey rules? Okay, so what if with this we have some journey rules, and then on the journey, you can some of the things that can happen is start the dungeon with more luck dice. How cool! You're blessed by the fairy queen, or fewer luck dice. Okay, so like journey rules could have something to do with that. So again, it's just one additional knob. Like your journey goes bad, you lose hit points, you lose hit dice, whatever. But it makes the dungeon actually more difficult for you. You see a bad omen, you lose a luck die. So instead of starting this dungeon with 4, you start with 3, or 4 instead of 5. I like that. I really like that, because we need more than just one knob to turn, like hit points, losing hit points, like how close you are to death. But like, how risky is this dungeon is like a cool, flavorful knob, I think. Like, all right, guys, we've already used up a lot of our luck. We're due for something bad, so we can't dilly-dally in this dungeon. Like that feels like a cool thing. Then this could be where the step die comes in. The player option is to decrement the die. Yeah, that could be cool. I think maybe instead of decrementing it, like they just have fewer to work with. Yeah, maybe they could just have fewer to work with, because it could be like it could be instead of removing a die, like you decrement one. But I think having where's my dice? So I think having like some d6s and some d4s is like a little bit awkward. I think you should maybe always be rolling the same number, or that they should always be the same size. Or maybe it's like the first time, maybe you get a choice. Now, I think that might be a little bit too mathy because it's unclear if let me see, grab all my d4s. All right, so it is not immediately clear if. Okay, so something bad happens. Would you guys rather have 3d6 or 4d4? Would you rather lose a die or decrement them all? I don't know. Hang on, let me get my phone and crunch the numbers. Like, I think that's maybe too much. I think you just have this many. You just have however many dice. Okay, whether this is like your dungeoneering skill or your luck or whatever, you have this many dice. And if all of a sudden you get to a very dangerous part of the dungeon, now instead of having 4d6s, you have 4d4s. So like you're like the danger level of the dungeon can go up or down, right? You're shown a shortcut. Now you have like you have 4d8s that you're rolling. So we don't have to have like a huge table. It's just if they add up to double digits, like it doesn't matter. There's no encounter. That feels mathematically like pretty good. So that like by the time you're rolling like 2 or 3 d4s, like anytime you have a 1, like the sum of like the rest of these, like it's going to be less than 10 automatically. And the whole like if you roll a single digit like with initiative being a bad thing, like it's still like, we're still using that hook that we've taught people. So if you ever roll a 1 on the primary die and you're rolling d4s, like even if both of these are 4, like that's 9. So you're still going to have some encounter. It's just not going to be as bad as it could have been. But if you don't want an encounter, you can. I think this is going to be. This is going to be something like what it ends up being. I think this is going to be something like what it ends up being. As much as I do like the shift dice, Nimble has good system assumption. No reason to I don't know what shift dice is, but it's a cool name. I like Shadow Dark and rolling after every dungeon round. 7 is the most common of 2d6, so probably nothing happens in the middle numbers. Luck being used after seeing a singular roll makes it meaningful. Yeah. What about some passive ancestry traits or abilities like having a spiky body that do extra damage whenever you grapple someone? I think having some background or something, like you're an expert dungeoneer, like the first time you would lose a luck thing in a dungeon, you don't. Like that kind of thing could be cool. But that would be dependent on, maybe that would just be like a boon that you get. Since that would be dependent on your GM, like if you use these dungeoneering rules at all or not. That would be that'd be more like a sci-fi kind of thing. Would you ever go with less dice? Just thinking it would, yeah. Yeah, Mo, you're definitely thinking sci-fi, man. Could be cool. What happens if I don't remove? This way I have to face one hard encounter, but the next ones are still like, yeah. I think that's cool. That's a cool trade-off to make. So if you don't remove a die, like now you know this is going to be a hard encounter, but I chose that hard encounter, right? So if someone does die in this hard encounter, like, well, we didn't have to do this, right? I think that's cool. Or if we like the chances of someone dying are like not super high, but like we lose a lot of resources. Like oof, like yeah, man, I got down to like 3 hit points. I spent half my mana. Like next time we roll a 1, like we're going to have to use our luck, right? So like the next encounter might be easy. So I think that would be cool. How do you gain more luck? I don't know. That's a great question. That's a good solution. Yeah, it feels nimble. Yeah, it feels nice. So like you're not checking boxes on a sheet of paper. You have a fistful of dice or like a handful of dice that like you're spinning, and like everybody's gonna be looking at those on the table like we're down to 3. you know? Yeah. Yeah, that could be cool. I'm liking it. Hmm. Can you gain more luck? Like maybe you can't. Maybe like by default, like luck just goes one way. Maybe it's something you gain when you regain when you safe rest for like a week or two. You like everything resets back to 0. Um, maybe like if you perform like some really cool thing in some event, like you meet like you roll some number where you meet an NPC. Um, you roll something where there's a twist or a rival party or like like you make it have some critical success. Oh, this is some person that I knew my backstory, and like she's going to bless us because I saved her life years ago, and she's going to bless us with an extra luck die. Yeah, that feels kind of cool. So like maybe that could be one of the things that can happen in the tables as like you regain a luck die. So what I don't want to have happen, if you guys can help me think through some of these things, what I don't want to have happen is, let's get rid of these d4s. What I don't want to have happen is like you roll a 1 and then like you roll all of these are big. Uh, so uh, so there's just no encounter. Okay, so that you do it again and you roll a 1 and like all these, so there's just no encounter. So maybe 10 or more is like, so if you roll a 1, it's combat. But the rest is going to be like a relatively easy encounter, maybe. Um, or like maybe some of the obstacles can be unget overable. This is a door that you cannot unlock, right? Or you've tried 4 times, 6 times, or whatever. Like you just cannot. I will just spend a luck die to just bypass this trap, to bypass this door. Maybe that's it. Like a locked door or a spicy trap. You can gain more luck or lose it during events. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you can gain luck, sort of like in 5e, where you can like hand out inspiration. Yeah, if you guys can do this thing, like I'll give you another luck token, another luck die. What happens to the encounter when I remove the luck? Is it easy or nothing? I think if you remove a luck, like you overcome it in whatever way you dictate. Like you tell me what happens. Like maybe it's that. Like you tell me like you guys are able to avoid this combat that was coming somehow. What happens? Maybe that's it. I like removing dice, but I'm not sure about switching die sizes. I don't really want to be digging around for 4 die of another size after I already have Dungeon Pilot die 6. So I think the most it'll ever be is like 3 or 4. So it's not going to be a pile, but like I as a GM, I would just say like, okay, you're in this part of the dungeon. Here, roll these. But point well made. Nemesis board game has a great mechanic where you can go slow and quiet, fast, loud. Yeah. So we have like carefully traverse a small unexplored area or quickly traverse a large unexplored area. So like basically move twice but loud or not carefully, or you can like slowly go. So like you can traverse a bigger space while the dungeon only gets 1 turn. or you can go carefully, but the dungeon gets 2 turns because you're gonna have to like spend 2 movements to get across that thing. Yeah. I like the idea that luck is a result of delving further. Double sixes being awesome. For doubles, are we looking at some class of PBD moves? It looks like it is going. Yeah, send me, Daniel, send me a link of what you're talking about. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Some classic PBTA moves. So, like, will all of this, will it all end up in this direction? Probably not, but I think we're directionally heading in the right spot. It feels like a fun mechanic that the players can see and manage as resource. Different approach could be having a danger modifier, increasing upon entering a new room. Applies to rolls for encounter strength and treasure. Reset on leaving. Floor staircase act as 2 points. Possibly. And this is follow-up. Certain classes can go fast and quiet, but will be on their own. So like in a simulation in a video game, that would definitely be like a cool thing to do. But in a tabletop RPG, like one of the first times I was playing D&D, I was playing a rogue. Like me and my buddy, Hunter, Ranger, that we were going in the dungeon. It was just like the 2 of us. We were stealthing in the dungeon. We were exploring the dungeon, having a good time, and everybody else was just sitting at the table, just sitting. So I think mechanically, or just like physically, because this is the TT tabletop RPG, I would want to avoid a thing where like, all right, I'm gonna go explore by myself, guys. See ya, because I'm the only one who has +12 in stealth, and everybody else is wearing loud, clanky armor. So I think that's just one of the things that we don't want to incentivize unfun play patterns. Yeah, possibly we're creatures. Yeah, give so like you spin your luck die, like, all right, this encounter doesn't happen. Like that's just the conclusion. This encounter doesn't happen, or you escape unscathed or something. How did you guys do it? And then like they can just like they get to be the GM for a bit. I think that's cool. And it makes less work for me as the GM. Is there room in a design for different areas of the dungeon, giving different vibe, different tables, different risks? I think so. I think so. Maybe like the doubles table is like the special thing. So I want to be careful of having too many tables and too much bloat, but I want to have enough to where it doesn't feel like you're doing the same dungeon over and over again. So that's going to be a fine balance. Not in this game, Mo. But there is something that I'm thinking about, a version of Nimble that is for sci-fi settings. So that is something that could come in the future. But as of right now, this is pretty focused on fantasy or high fantasy. If you want to do sci-fi stuff, you could certainly like reflavor all sorts of things. You know, this isn't a longbow. This is a rifle. Like you could do that kind of stuff. But you just reflavor things. Okay, so yeah, I'm really liking how things are looking right now. Okay. All right, so 1 I think is 1. Okay, so a thing happens. So just like when you're let's go back to the desk. Okay. So if you roll a 1 on your primary die, if you roll a 1 here, regardless, so just like when you're attacking, if this was an attack roll, I ignore all of these and I got a 1. Okay. So an encounter happens, these just sort of show me how easy or hard it is. I think that's what we're doing. So 1 combat encounter happens. And Daniel, let me know if is this helping the solo stuff, or am I just throwing like just a huge wrench into your guys' plans? So easy. If monster levels are less than half of the heroes, this is an easy encounter. Heroes will lose minimum HP and resources, make it easy. Okay, so medium. Oh, you love robots, man. That's cool that you got a thing that you love. There is a construct ancestry in the book already. You could check that out. But a companion, yeah, maybe. The artificer does have constructs, companions, and like gadgets and things. Robots they have. One is a hostile monster encounter. Okay, maybe there's just a separate one table. One's table. Some primary dice / modifier dice mechanic has lower values modifier. It could be. I think for loot tables, it might just be a d20. Just keeping that simple. Everybody rolls a d20, and that's the loot you get. Okay, 1 to 2, bad. 3 to 6, medium. Let's just say deadly. Deadly encounter. Let me take another look at this. Okay, so deadly is up to 125% of the hero. So a deadly counter where the monster levels equal up to 100%. So let's just. So instead of just saying hard. 7 to 9. This is going to be a medium, which is 75%. And then 10 plus, it's still an encounter. But it might be 50 might be too trivial. 50 might be too trivial, but we'll do some playtesting. Okay, so Joe's in the chat. Hey, Joe. Cool. Bark from Blades in the Dark, there is a concept of a flashback. Players spend a resource to retcon an event, say they meant it. Yeah, so like spinning a luck thing would be like, oh, we didn't fall into the trap, we did something else. So let me where's luck? Am I blind? Luck. Yeah, players get to narrow what happens instead. Yeah, gotta be careful to maintain the scope. Yeah, I like the direction it's going, but it was a D10 table, but I can see it. Okay. Okay, cool. I like the idea of spark tables, small tables that can be mixed and matched to relieve the burden of D. Yeah. Mo, you cracking me up, Mo. Yeah, gargoyles. I think there's a gargoyle monster in there that has some cool attributes, I think. Let me see if I can pull it up for you, Joe. Hey, Agile Monk, good to see you, man. Let me see if I can pull up the gargoyles for Mo, since he's pitched so many ideas. It's in the vampires document, gargoyles. Let me see what abilities do gargoyles have. Okay, yeah. So gargoyles just have heavy armor, and they have the crush ability. They roll 1d4 with disadvantage. So I'll just show you guys instead of reading it. Gargoyle. So heavy armor, fly 6. So their attack is 1d4 damage with disadvantage. But if they hit you, they deal 30 damage to you, and you're prone. That's a gargoyle. Having some ability with the no, they stone. I think heavy armor is pretty much that. I think heavy armor is a good clean way to simulate that. No, this Tears the Parched God. Okay, all of my things are popping up all of a sudden. Okay. One mechanically irrelevant thing to keep in mind: wording should be abstract enough to apply different kinds of environments. Yes. So, Turtle, how does remove the die heal the player? So, say we rolled this, and like we're really low on resources, and we don't want to fight, even if it's an easy fight. Instead of fighting, we'll just say, all right, we'll just spend one of these, and we don't have the fight. And okay, well, tell me how you avoided the fight. We bribe them, we scare them, we do this, whatever. We hide, we sneak away. There's no fight. Or like you're here, you fall into the trap, like something bad happens. All right, so maybe it's not a fight, maybe it's like a 2, and just like a bunch, just like a sort of a crummy roll. It's a trap, and it's a really bad trap, and like you guys do your skill checks, and you try to get out, and like, all right, guys, we're just gonna spend a skill point. We're just get out of this trap. Or a luck point. We're out of the trap. We succeeded. We got out, and the thing that we said we did the first time, it worked, and we're out of the trap. We're not crushed by the ceiling. Okay. So spinning the die it lets the players, the heroes, just get out of the thing or avoid the thing or whatever they want to narrate happening within reason, I think. We get out of the trap because, a leprechaun saves us and he gives us all of his gold. And like, no. Like, you get out of the trap. How do you get out of the trap? So spinning the die, removing the die helps because that lets the player, we were lucky. Well, how were you lucky? You got out of the thing somehow. All right, cool. Okay, yep. Thanks for hanging out. Mo. Probably not, Mo. Probably not, but maybe in the future. But feel free to check out the there's a free creators kit if you're like super passionate about certain ideas. Like go ahead and homebrew it. Like go ahead and make it and share it with the community, or package it up and sell it. And like, yeah, go ahead and do that kind of thing. If you're super into some of these different ideas that you really like, yeah, I would encourage you to do it. Okay, so let's see. Do the drown monsters we have on the Patreon have options for player ancestry, not just to fight? It doesn't currently, but that could be a thing. It doesn't currently. That could be a thing. Okay, guys, I think we have enough of a thing. I'm gonna let this sort of sit and simmer. It's hard to like fully develop an idea just in one shot. So I think we've got it far enough to where there's a framework that I can tweak and work with and squish around. Where I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with where we ended up so far. But it's a framework, and we can continue to tweak it. But I at least have a starting point now, enough to where I can keep developing it. And like a lot of times when I'm sleeping at night, I will be dreaming about these things, and I'll just wake up with an idea. Fixed D&D. Yeah, thank you so much for hanging out, man, on your birthday. Hope you have a great rest of your birthday. We will continue to continue the development. And if you guys please continue to tell your friends, like we're already up to 658. 659. Wow, we're already up to 659. And there is a chance that we can hit 1 million. Not that I'm expecting to, but that would be a cool special thing to happen. But we will have more budget to do cool things and hire more artists and do fun stuff. The more support that it gets. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. Appreciate your feedback and your input. We'll do another stream, maybe not tomorrow, maybe the next day, but we'll see. Maybe I'll do another stream tomorrow. All right, guys, that is it. Till next time.